Imagine you're a 17-year-old girl and you have lost both your parents, and your stepmom sells you to a man for the sum of 6,000 US dollars. You are then forcefully married to a 65-year-old man. You probably think this cannot get any worse, and then one day your husband and you travel to Iran. He makes you transport heroin because police do not normally check women's bags. After this, your husband is afraid that you will run away and go talk to the police. He locks you up and forces you into prostitution to pay the debt of the money he used to buy you. Until one day, you have an opportunity to run and you seize the opportunity and escape. This might seem like a nightmare to you, and you might not think this stuff happens in the modern world, but this is the true tragic story of Zamara. Luckily, she escaped this horror, but many people do not. What can you do to help prevent human trafficking in Afghanistan? I have researched this topic and discovered the best ways to help and spread the word on human trafficking. Today we will be discussing what is human trafficking, how does it affect Afghanistan, what organizations are doing to prevent trafficking, and how do they support the victims? What can you do to help support and prevent human trafficking? First up, what is human trafficking? According to DHS, human trafficking involves the use of force, fraud, or coercion to obtain some type of labor and commercial sex act. Every year, millions of men, women, and children are trafficked worldwide, including right here in the United States. It can happen in any community, and victims can be any age, race, gender, or nationality. Victims often do not seek help because of fear and language barriers. Traffickers look for easy targets that have emotional vulnerability and lack of social circle. They also find people that have financial issues and are affected by natural disasters. Now that we know what human trafficking is and how it occurs, we are going to look at how this affects the country of Afghanistan. How does this affect Afghanistan? The economic crisis caused by the pandemic and drought has increased trafficking. Afghanistan is a Tier 3 country for human trafficking. This means the country is not making enough effort towards the problem. After the Taliban takeover in 2021, many NGOs and humanitarian work for education and freedom of speech was threatened. According to the state.gov website, prior to August 15, 2021, 9 out of 10 women in Afghanistan experienced at least one form of intimate partner violence in their lifetime. Many of these women have been forced to return to their families after the Taliban closed many women's shelters throughout the country. The Taliban has a pattern of sexual slavery and child soldiers. This is causing threats to basic human rights, freedom of speech, limiting opportunities, education rights, and participation in society. Forced marriages are common and are often sold to pay debts or settle feuds. According to the German non-governmental organization, Medina Mandala, the majority of females, 57%, are married before the legal age of 16, with up to 80% of marriage being forced in Afghanistan. This is a huge percent of the population, and a lot of stories are like Zamara's story at the beginning. Many people do not escape this nightmare, and if they do, they live with trauma and fear for the rest of their lives. Now, what are organizations doing to stop this? The two main organizations that are trying to stop human trafficking and help the victims of this tragic events in Afghanistan are USAID and IOM. USAID is working with the government to provide shelter, healthcare, food, and sanitation, and water. IOM is also working with the government to pass anti-trafficking legislation. They also provide protection, prosecution, and they contribute food, clothing, and safe shelters. Now, what can you do to help? Now, you might be asking what you can do to help prevent this tragedy and help protect these victims. The simplest way is to spread the word. Let people know the horrors that are going on through and share people's stories like Samara's on social media or just in conversation. The more information we share, the more awareness and help we can provide. USAID does not accept donations, but another way to help is to donate money to IOM. It does not have to be much. It could be $1, $5, or even $100. Anything helps. $1 might not seem like much, but it could cause a major difference in one of these victims' lives. You can also volunteer to help programs like USAID, IOM, and even the Peace Corps. They always need volunteers, and it can make a major impact. No act of kindness is ever wasted. On a final note, we have gone over the horrors of trafficking, what organizations are working to stop trafficking and protect the victims, and what you can do to become part of the solution. So I leave you with one final thought. No act of kindness, however small, is ever wasted. Thank you for listening, and have a great night.